A hot desert wind blew clouds of dust across the barren land as a lone cowboy rode his weary horse along the edge of the wilderness. The long day of travel had drained him, and the lack of water made his horse breathe heavily. Suddenly, his eyes caught a strange sight: a woman lying unconscious on the sand, her clothes torn, her skin wounded, and the markings of the Apache tribe clear on her attire. Shocked, he dismounted and knelt beside her. Blood seeped through her garments, proof that she had suffered from some violent clash or ambush. Compassion stirred within him. He unstrapped his water flask and carefully poured a little into her mouth. Slowly, her breathing steadied, and her eyes flickered open. In a faint, trembling voice she whispered, "You saved my life." The cowboy stared at her, uncertain what fate had placed upon him that day. The woman was none other than the wife of a respected Apache leader, known across the land for her strength and dignity. Her wound was severe, and without the cowboy's timely help, survival would have been impossible. From his saddlebag he pulled out strips of cloth and a small kit, tending to her injuries with the skill of a man who had seen many battles. As dusk painted the sky, he gently lifted her onto his horse and led her to his small camp, where a fire crackled under the starry sky. He stayed awake through the night, watching over her as she slept. By dawn her eyes opened again, this time with strength, and a faint smile touched her lips. "With gratitude," she said, "you are not just a traveler, you have become the guardian of my soul." The cowboy remained silent, knowing this act of kindness would not be forgotten. Days passed, and the Apache woman grew stronger under his care. He brought her food, fetched water, and kept the fire alive through the nights. One morning, she told him, "My people are waiting for me. I must return." Saddling his horse, the cowboy agreed to escort her back. Their journey stretched across dusty plains and rugged hills until finally the tall wooden posts and smoke signals of the Apache settlement appeared on the horizon. As they approached, Apache men and women gathered, wary eyes fixed on the stranger. Suspicion flickered among them until the woman raised her voice, recounting how this cowboy had saved her life. The tension softened, replaced by awe and respect. At last, the Apache leader stepped forward, his eyes glistening with emotion. "You pulled my wife from the jaws of death," he said. "For that, our people owe you a debt we can never forget." The leader turned to his wife, then looked at the cowboy with firm resolve. "A debt such as this cannot be repaid with words alone." The cowboy, shifting uneasily, answered with humility, "I did only what any man of conscience would. I ask for nothing in return." But the Apache chief shook his head. "Among our people, one who protects our honor becomes one of us." Then, in a moment that startled the cowboy, the leader's wife spoke softly yet firmly, "We have a daughter, she deserves a man with courage and a heart of compassion. This stranger is perfect for her." The cowboy's chest tightened. Marriage was the farthest thing from his mind. Yet in the eyes of the Apaches, customs and duty were sacred. What seemed strange to him was, for them, a way of honoring life and keeping bonds strong. 2 nights later, the Apache tribe gathered in celebration. Drums echoed across the valley, and firelight danced on painted faces. Men and women sang in unison, their voices rising with the smoke. The cowboy, seated among them, felt the rhythm seep into his bones. That evening, he was introduced to the chief's daughter. Her name was Her long black hair shimmered in the firelight, her dark eyes deep with strength, and her posture graceful yet proud. When she looked at the cowboy, a soft smile curved her lips, carrying gratitude within it. In a hushed tone she said, "My mother told me everything. You saved her, and in saving her, you saved us all. I will honor you." The cowboy still wrestled with disbelief, yet something in Nayeli's gaze stirred his heart. The walls around him began to crumble, replaced by warmth he had never expected. Days turned into weeks, and the cowboy found himself living among the Apache people. Their traditions, rituals, and way of life grew familiar, and slowly he felt a bond forming with their world. Often walked with him, teaching him Apache words, showing him how to understand their customs, and laughing when he stumbled through phrases. One evening, the two sat close beside the campfire, embers glowing in the cool night. Asked gently, "Will you return to your people, or will you remain with us?" The cowboy fell silent, staring at the stars before answering, "I believe my heart belongs here now. Your people's loyalty, their honesty, it feels like home." Nayeli's face lit up with joy. She reached for his hand, and in that quiet moment, the unspoken truth became clear: their lives were no longer separate, but bound together by fate and choice. Yet peace was fragile. The cowboy's old companions, men of the frontier who valued conquest and control, did not approve of his bond with the Apache. One day they appeared near the settlement, calling out to him. "This is not your place," they warned. "Come back to where you belong. These people are not your kin, they are your enemies." But the cowboy stood tall, his voice calm yet unyielding. "An enemy is one who forgets humanity. These people gave me honor. They are not my foes." His old friends scowled, rage burning in their eyes. Threats followed, promises of bloodshed. The Apache chief, seeing this, placed a hand on the cowboy's shoulder. "You are no longer just a traveler," he declared. "You are one of us. If war comes, you will stand with us." The cowboy nodded, his loyalty sealed not only by duty, but by love. As the threat of battle grew, Nayeli's fears deepened. One moonlit night, she sat with the cowboy, her voice trembling. "I am afraid for you. If you fight, if you fall, what will become of us?" He placed a steady hand over hers, his eyes steady and calm. "My soul is tied to yours now. Whether life or death comes, nothing will take me from you." Tears welled in her eyes as she laid her head on his shoulder. The fire crackled beside them, and above, the stars bore witness to a vow stronger than any spoken promise. In that tender silence, they both realized their love was not only their own, it was a bridge between two worlds that had long been divided. Their bond had become more than affection, it was destiny written across the night sky. At last, the clash arrived. The enemy rode in on horseback, rifles and pistols blazing, dust rising like a storm around them. The Apaches, with bows, arrows, and rifles of their own, stood firm in defense of their home. Among them stood the cowboy, rifle in hand, heart pounding. He fought with unyielding determination, firing shot after shot, his voice rising with theirs in a battle cry. The sound of steel and fire filled the air, men falling, dust turning red with blood. At the height of the fight, a bullet tore through his shoulder, throwing him back. Pain surged, yet he gritted his teeth and pulled himself up, bringing down an enemy rider even as his own strength faded. Around him, the Apaches fought with courage, inspired by his bravery. For the first time, they saw him not as an outsider, but as one of their warriors. When the dust settled and silence reclaimed the valley, the Apache tribe stood victorious. Their enemies fled, leaving only scars behind. The cowboy, though wounded, still breathed. Nayeli rushed to him, tears streaming down her face as she pressed her hands to his wound. Her father, the chief, lifted the cowboy's hand high and proclaimed, "From this day, you are no longer our guest. You are our son, our family, and the husband of my daughter." The tribe erupted in joyous song and dance, celebrating under the glowing firelight. The cowboy, weak yet smiling, turned to Nayeli and whispered, "The journey I began alone has brought me to you." Her smile through tears was radiant as she replied, "Our love has bound two worlds together." And so, the tale of the cowboy and the Apache maiden became more than a love story, it became a legend of loyalty, unity, and the power of humanity.